right, give me a second to tweet out a link here. It's not even technically 9 yet, so.
I already clicked go live before I heard you say that. My bad.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I doubt anyone's really watching the first 3 seconds.
Yeah. Well, Charlie, thanks, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yeah.
All right, give me a second to tweet out a link here. Oh, there it is. All right, Tim, I'm ready whenever you are.
All right. We'll do the Wayne Joel count in 5, 4, 3. What is going on, everybody? It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's late night Reds talk with this 3-man trio you don't want to face in a short series and our very special guest. Really excited about the show this week as we are celebrating the Reds winning 6 of their last 7. Should be 7 of the last 7, but we won't get into the negative part. We're all positivity here. We're going to talk about the win today against the Royals, getting ready for this marathon against the Brewers with the All-Star break in between. So we have a lot to touch on. I am Tim Daniel. Go ahead and go around the panel as always, starting with Mr. Red Lake Nation himself, Nick Kirby.
What a difference a week makes, baby.
I know.
Last week we're in the middle of a rain delay that they end up calling a ridiculous loss, and 6-1 later, here we are, Reds. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. Also joining us, as always, former big league pitcher, my man, Mr. Snapback, Carlos Guevara. Looks like you had a great 4th of July, man.
Yeah, I did. Had a good one. Got a little bit of sun. Had to recap some baseball games late night, but it was good.
Perfect. Well, we're glad to see you as always. And joining us today from the Cincinnati Enquirer, he is covering the Reds. He's covering the Bengals. He's covering college basketball. He is the hardest working man in Cincinnati sports media. You can check him out on Twitter at, is it _ Charlie G or is it Charlie G _? I can never get it right.
Fun fact, it's Charlie G __. Because that's all I can get. But you'll take what you can get. So
exactly. Our man, Charlie Goldsmith. What's up, man? Welcome to your first appearance on Late Night Reds Talk.
It's good to be here. I also got some sun on the 4th of July, but that's much less exciting probably than it sounds.
Yeah. Well, you were probably at the ballpark during the Cubs game, weren't you? Yeah, I figured. So you got us beat there.
You win.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into this, a little housekeeping, just so we can keep everything involved. And I don't forget things because I have a tendency to do that when we get started. First things first, we are now on Apple Podcasts, like we mentioned last week. So we are waiting for reviews. And if you give us reviews, there might be a possibility you could win some of these. Details to follow. So we're looking for Apple Podcast reviews. If you're checking us out here on the YouTube, take a few minutes. Takes a few minutes of your day. 5 stars go a long way for us. We're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. And if you're checking us out on YouTube, welcome. But that's for here or there. Let's go ahead and get started. Charlie, you recently made a trip down to Louisville Slugger Field to see the rehab assignments of Michael Lorenzen. And you saw Jose Barrero, who is now in the Futures game. So with Lorenzen getting close to returning, they're talking about the possibility this weekend. More than they also talking about after the All-Star break. What did you see from Lorenzen? How close did you feel like he was to being on the big league roster?
I'll boil it down to one at-bat. His most impressive at-bat was against the Cardinals' top position player prospect, Nolan Gorman. He's like the number 28 prospect in all of baseball. The guy can hit. And what Lorenzen did to open the count, instead of leaning on his fastball, which he did that at-bat before, was he opened it up with 2 sliders in the dirt. And Gorman was baffled. He was confused. He whiffed. And then what does Lorenzen do with 2 strikes? He dials up to 97 high in the zone for his fastest pitch of the night. That sequencing is what you want to see in the bullpen. Obviously, we haven't seen Lorenzen as a reliever since last season because he was preparing to be a starter during spring training. He clearly came out with a bullpen-oriented game plan and bullpen-oriented stuff, and he looked very, very ready to me.
Any chance he joins the team against the Brewers?
Yep, that's the line David Bella said is if all goes well on Thursday, his second rehab appearance, that he would be on track to join the Reds on Saturday in Milwaukee.
Wow.
Music to our ears.
Beautiful.
And then also, is Michael Feliz down? Is it Feliz down there also?
Yeah,
right
he was. His fastball velo was up, consistently sitting 95. He's a fastball pitcher, and he was still a fastball pitcher in Louisville. He's the kind of guy they're going to, of course, let him get fully acclimated, fully ready, finish out the plan as he recovers. from that arm injury and see what happens after the trade deadline with him.
Nice. I like it. It feels comforting.
Do you know when he made his first appearance back with Louisville?
Yeah, he made his first rehab appearance, I believe, on Saturday. It was around that time. And this was his second rehab appearance that I saw this week.
Okay. So he's still got like over 2 more weeks that he can be in Louisville, right? 21 days?
I'm not sure that rule 100% specifically, but a line David Bell has used is they have some decisions to make after the All-Star break with some of these pitchers on rehab assignments, which 5 are going to stick in the rotation. And Feliz is a guy who I would put into that category as someone who is out of options.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I think the hitting wise everyone wants to talk about, and I mentioned is Jose Barrero. I believe the day you were there, did he hit a homer that game? Okay, it was the game before. Okay, but as far as that goes, I know that's the name people are circled. He obviously did some time with the Major League roster last year in the shortened season. Did you see? What would you see the expectations are for him from what you've heard within the organization?
Yeah, the expectation is for him to continue to develop into the best hitter he can be, and the good news is that this season he is having the best success at the plate that he has had in any season of his entire minor league career, regardless of level. It has been a little bit of a slower start in a few at-bats so far in AAA, but you look at the swing changes he has made, that gives you confidence in that bouncing back. And then his production in AA was beat for beat exactly what you would want to see from him. He's kept the leg kick, but he's integrated a more upright stance at the plate, very similar to what Joey Votto did last season. That just makes a more compact swing. He uses the phrase, be short to the ball. And from what I saw in Louisville, he didn't have one bad off-balance swing the entire game. So those adjustments, they didn't lead to a home run when I was there, but it was almost the opposite. The fact that he didn't have an off-balance swing might be the most important for him.
He got off to a really bad start, I believe, in AA also. I think like his first, or maybe it was when he started the alternate site. I think he had a really, really slow start. So
I think it was spring training. From how I remember it, he didn't have a hit during spring training. Obviously, that was not ideal, but then those stats don't matter. And clearly he has responded from that, earned a futures game invite, which is huge, and which I think might be one of the bigger signs that all of baseball is seeing the step forward he has taken at the plate this season.
So, Carlos, bringing you into the conversation here, from what you kind of saw in the shortest stint of at-bats that he had last year, how much do you think that change in his swing is going to affect him moving forward?
I mean, the biggest thing is kind of what Charlie was talking about, from not even putting my own eyes on it, but to get described as not being off balance on any of your swings. That's kind of like, to a pitcher, that's kind of, whoa, he's kind of locked in, or he's got his, I would kind of say kind of like you're a delivery as a pitcher. He's got his setup, his timing. Sounds like he's right on it. So, I mean, to me, they mentioned that he talked to Joey. There's kind of like some similarities between their changes that they made, and for him to be that quick already and to be balanced throughout his ABs, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely going to go a long way for sure. So Charlie, let's kind of go into, I want to kind of talk a little bit about this past weekend. Obviously was the Cubs series. The Reds sweep the Cubs. They've now swept everyone in the division at least once. But more I want to kind of talk about, like, for you, I know you kind of been in the game for all the home games. What was it like to see a full stadium for a full weekend again?
This is how I've been putting it. When David Bell began being the Reds manager, when he got the opportunity to be the manager for his hometown team, it was 4 series like that weekend against the Cubs at Great American Ballpark. That was his first time in a packed stadium in a playoff race, because in 2019 he could have some packed stadiums but no playoff race, and in 2020 he had a playoff race but empty crowds. And just from my perspective as well, for a team that obviously has the expectations that it has for the course of the season to then go out and kind of bury the Cubs as well, sent a message, I think, externally across the division, and just also showed to me that they have that their depth can lead to a lot of wins this season, because that was kind of the recipe over the weekend in Chicago.
It was kind of Reds and Cubs played. I remember a series in the end of 2019. It was a really, really fun series in Wrigley. The Reds were way out of it, but the Cubs were fighting for a playoff spot. It felt like the first series since then. That was just a really fun series. It was a well played series. I think the Reds took 2 of 3 from the Cubs, and I think that they really struggled on the stretch and missed the playoffs. And it just, I don't know. To me, it felt like kind of the first series since then where it was like, wow, this is real baseball that matters. And yeah, that was just an awesome series.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. Like, I don't know if it's because now we're starting to get full capacity, like stadiums are able to fill up and people are eager. Like, there's been some good games where the crowds got into it, like San Diego, LA games.
Yeah.
The Reds now, like, it's fans are into it and it's fun. It's exciting. You definitely get a playoff feel from it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you watch the Yankee games and all their fans are like, had their heads buried and they're throwing stuff. It's awesome. I love it.
6 straight come from behind wins. I mean, the last 6 wins have all been come from behind wins. That's insane. I mean, probably a couple years of my life taken off, but it's been exciting, man. The 2021 Reds, say a lot of things about them, but the one thing you can say, they're very, very exciting every night. They're interesting. They're just a lot of fun to watch. And, I don't know how everything's going to play out, but every night I tune in, I'm entertained one way or the other.
So that brings me, Charlie, I got to ask you this because you and I work on all the same college basketball beats. What's it like to actually cover a team that's like consecutively winning and consistent and fun? Because as you know, from the teams we've worked together on of our college basketball games, we don't see that too often.
That's right. Good. No response.
Doesn't need coaches texting him.
Yeah. Relationships, we got to make sure we keep those together. So, I think right now, we've playing this game all for quite a while now with these ups and downs. We mentioned it last week. With where they're not looking now, I think a lot of the idea now looks like from the weekend they had when they're getting a lot of revenue from how they're playing. Do you kind of, Charlie, feel confident that you might say this team post All-Star break going to the trade deadline might be looking as potential buyers at this point?
I think just from my perspective personally, you can feel more confident in the Reds at the trade deadline in 2021 than I really think than you could have in 2019 and 2020, considering how much the Reds team was struggling on August 31st last season. And in both of those years, the Reds went out and made moves. This is also a Reds team where there are obvious areas to improve, to where you don't even need to get, say, the very best player on the market to end up making a huge impact on a playoff possible roster. So for all those reasons, it's easy to make a case that the Reds will do something between now and July 31st.
Confirm. DeGrom, Cincinnati.
Do it. You struggled today, so the Mets probably aren't too optimistic.
Struggle 2 earned runs.
Just struggling for DeGrom.
What a bum.
Yeah. Talking about that, I guess we can kind of move forward. So Sonny Gray today, obviously 7 innings, had a really, really tough fourth where, couldn't find the strike zone. You could see on TV the concern that Bell and David Johnson had. When you kind of, I heard what he said in his post-game presser, and that was something. But taking away from what you saw from Sonny today compared to what it's been, the ups and downs he's had with injuries this year, what really jumped out the most from you in this performance today?
Just the 7th inning as a whole. It was after the Reds had taken the lead, and then Sonny kind of just comes in and slams the door. It's the kind of inning to where, like, you don't have to put your starter back out there for a 7th. You can, in a vacuum, say, all right, you gave us 6 good innings, Sonny, let's move on to the bullpen. And, the Reds bullpen's a separate conversation, but then for Sonny to go out and pitch arguably his best inning of the game in the 7th inning, to me, it was his most impressive inning of the game, is just another sign of why he is ace material, if not the ace of the Reds. Obviously, injuries are the one thing potentially making a difference from a label like that. But with Luis Castillo and Sonny Gray, the Reds have what they thought they would have at the start of the season with their frontline starting pitching.
Yeah, you pair him up with Castillo and Malley and Miley. Man, that is 4 really, really good starters you're running out there, like on 4 consecutive days. And Gutierrez has certainly been no pushover as the number 5 starter. And the Reds have so many other options to fill that last spot. So, Yeah, I think, if these guys stay healthy, I really think that's going to be a massive strength that no one else, even the Brewers, don't have. The Brewers have three really, really good starters, but their fourth and fifth, I mean, it's a little, it's a little dicey for them. So I really think the Reds starting pitching depth, which it feels weird. They really only have like 4 legit starters, but 4 legit starters in this division goes a long way, especially when you're comparing them to their, competition.
So we do have a question in the chat from Tyson Youngman. He wants to say, what do you all think ownership does before the deadline, if anything? And do the 7 games with Milwaukee help persuade that one way or another? Charlie kind of mentioned earlier, he felt like there were buyers, but I think that the Brewers series kind of absolutely does. Like in these 7 games, I think if you go like 5-2 and you're like super close, like, yeah, you make a move. But I kind of still feel like they're kind of going to be hunting game if they go 1-6, just so they can try to get that like back. I don't think this is like I don't know. What do you guys think in that circumstance?
I am curious. This has been a series that multiple players, multiple members of the coaching staff have said it's a very important series, and obviously it is important for standings reasons. That's clear, no doubt about it. But what's impossible to parse is how much of the timing of the series is a reason that they're calling it an important series as well, because it is one of the crucial stretches. We're now in the stretch run to the trade deadline, and the Brewers series comes right at that inflection point almost.
Yeah, it's hard to see the Reds going like 2-5 in those 7 games. Assuming the Brewers hang on tonight, I mean, that would put the Reds like 9 games back. So, I mean, it's hard to see the Reds buying at that point. So, yeah, I mean, it matters. I don't think the Reds need to go, 6-1 or anything crazy like that. I would say sign me up right now for 5-2 all day. Get the Reds within 3, and I think they would really be in a good spot. But honestly, I mean, even 4-3, getting within 5 games, you're still gonna have a couple weeks before the deadline. I think you're in a good spot. But yeah, I mean, it's not just the standings. It's what will the team do, and will they get a chance to maybe see that starting pitching depth. The lineup that's clearly the best in the division. Will they get a chance for them to play the full season out and see what they can do? The Brewers have clearly overachieved to this point. I think they're going to come back down to earth. They seem like they're showing a little bit of signs of that. How much that remains to be seen. But I also think the wild card spot in the National League. I know the Reds are quite a few games back from that. I know the Padres and Dodgers both look really, really good. But a team like the Giants, that's another team that has really overachieved. I think that second wildcard spot could really get in play. It's really hard for 3 teams in the same division, even with the Rockies and Diamondbacks, to all win like 90 plus games. So, how will that all shake out? I mean, keep winning. I mean, your Reds are 4 games over 500 right now. It's an 85 win pace. You keep winning, there's probably going to be a spot open up, or at least a competitive spot.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, like you mentioned, just that difficulty of that 3-man race there. And I think one of the things you've talked about all year, Nick, is if you look at this team's schedule come September, it's, pretty favorable to the roster.
9 of the last 18 games are against the Pirates. I mean, that's what you want to close out a season. That's for sure. And God only knows what that Pirates team is going to look like in September. I mean, they're going to trade anyone they can at the deadline. They might also shut other guys down that at that point in the season. They're certainly not going to risk any injuries at that late in the year. So, I mean, you never know. They might have some hungry guys, and it's baseball. But yeah, I mean, the Reds have a bunch of games with the Cubs too. If the Cubs sell a little earlier before the deadline, Reds have, I think, a 4-game series on like July 26th with the Cubs. That Cubs team, I mean, the Reds have already played well against them, but that Cubs team could really look a little different. So yeah, I mean, I think the schedule definitely is favorable for the Reds. Brewers don't by any means have like this significantly more difficult schedule. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Reds have a pretty favorable schedule in the second half.
Yeah, I'm certainly with you. So Charlie, I'll go reach you out here. Thanks again, man, for taking some time to talk with us. We greatly appreciate it. One last question for you, Roll. Obviously this weekend is the Major League Baseball draft. They did this amazing thing where they're like, what if we have a draft when there aren't games on? It was crazy how that works out. Obviously the Reds are pretty busy the first couple rounds. Is there anything you've looked into? Have you thought of any prospects potentially that you've got rapport on or anything like that?
I'll be honest, no. I haven't gotten to do as much draft prep as I would have liked to this year. But as you mentioned, the Reds have big opportunity. I'm very familiar with the position they're in. And look forward to see what happens.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that your entire summer hasn't been around draft prospects. That means the big league club's doing well, yes, because it would have been 3 years ago. So
yes,
very good.
The year of Hunter Green, I think it was written in stone, when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, the Reds are taking this guy. I feel like it was at that moment, it's oh, cool. Awesome. Well, Charlie, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us. You got anything, if you want to plug anything as far as any articles you have coming up, your social media, by all means, man, take the floor.
Well, thank you. Just read the Cincinnati Enquirer, hopefully. Thanks again. Seriously, great talking to you guys.
Thanks so much, Charlie.
Appreciate it, man.
Buddy.
All right, and that was with Charlie Goldsmith. So we got him on. So guys, let's kind of talk a little bit about a few different things here. First things first, last time we talked, we were kind of getting ready for it. So now we do officially know that the Reds will have 2 starters in the outfield. That feels like it's ages ago, and it was after we last recorded. So excitement, feelings, where are you guys at with that?
It's awesome.
Cool. Exciting. I mean, for sure. Have 2 starters out there showing. Usually we have to wait a little bit for the 5th, 6th inning to watch our Reds players take an AB or something, but these guys are going to be in the starting lineup and wearing the white and red. That'll be pretty cool.
Well, they'll be wearing that weird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
God, I hate that.
I'm still hoping they cave at some point.
Yeah.
And just say, yeah, let's go back. This was a stupid marketing ploy. We're sorry. Forgive us.
Yeah. I feel like, Nike, I really love that Nike has the MLB license for apparel, but sometimes they just go a little too far. As if you can see, pretty passionate about the swoosh, as you can see behind me. So it's pretty hard for me to criticize them, but yeah, those are god awful. But yeah, like you guys said, it's pretty cool that they're going to have 2 guys. We don't have to wait 6 innings, like Carlos said. We also don't have a situation like in 2010 when Joey had to be in the last vote to get in, the year he won the MVP, which was unbelievable to me. But yeah, I think it's exciting. It's really cool. It's right in the middle of the break. That's the reason Castellanos got a day off today, is what they were saying on TV. So he got a break. He won't have a break during the All-Star gig. So we have that. And like Charlie mentioned earlier, we now have an additional guy in the futures game with Jose Barrero joining Nick Lodolo. So we've talked about this quite a few times because I think, Nick, you mentioned a lot of people seem to have this idea that this Reds window is here as far as about the shut. But really, if you look realistically at what they have in the pipeline and who's what the contracts look like for this team, I think it's a little more open than people are kind of saying. So, and I think we've kind of harped on that quite a bit throughout the season.
Yeah, I think the Reds have a good core that they can build upon, especially if they're willing to spend some money. Now, that being said, I don't know the Reds are going to have a better opportunity than they might have this year. Right. Things happen, you never know. The Reds team will look totally different in 3 years than we think right now. It always works out like that. 3 years ago, we'd be expecting Jose Peraza to be our starting shortstop. And that was not a weird thing. That was like legit. So, I think, I tweeted out earlier. This is the first time since 2014 the Reds are going to be 500 at the All-Star break. Come on, let's go. Let's roll. It's been a long time. But I was kind of willing to give this team a pass for some of their decisions this offseason, but you just packed out the stadium against the Cubs. A lot of excuses are over, let's go get some big league players. I'm interested, Carlos, your opinion. I think the Reds should still get a shortstop. I think they should absolutely be in the conversations for Trevor Story. I don't know why you wouldn't want to get one of the, 15, 20 best position players in baseball. I mean, I don't think you should sell out sell your soul for him, but I think it should be in the conversation. I think they should at least be looking at someone like a Miguel Rojas or someone like that. I don't know. I just Jose Barrero. I mean, he seems enticing, but he looked overmatched last year. You know, it was enticing last year too. I'd rather see him be the second option as opposed to the first option for a team trying to win a division down the stretch. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should they should upgrade there at shortstop, but I mean, I would love for them to get Trevor Story, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to go kind of more of like a slight upgrade, kind of how we talked about last week, like slight upgrade, great defensive player and about an average big league hitter, because there's not a whole lot out there that's going to be available. And then, go and spend, a little bit more money on a reliever or two, actually two of them. Like I'd rather have the three out of, if we get a shortstop and two relievers, I'd rather have the relievers be the better of the three, the 1 and 2, like best acquisitions, and then the shortstop. Like I would spend more money there.
I would take Trevor Story, and that's it if that was my only choice.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I mean, if we're talking Andrelton Simmons and no relievers, yeah, I'm probably gonna say let's just we've come this far with our boy Kyle Farmer. Let's keep rolling. He's doing great. Like seriously, like all credit in the world to guys like Kyle Farmer. Like he's hitting his career average, his career like OPS expectation, and he's playing phenomenal defense. So all the credit in the world to him. The Reds just should have a better shortstop than that. It's just, it's that simple. And honestly, if Farmer went down, I mean, I guess you'd call up, you would obviously call up Barrio, but like, if he's not ready, like, who's going to play shortstop? You can't play Suarez there every day. I don't think you're going to play Mike Freeman there every day. There's like no other options, It's a scary place to be.
Yeah, before anyone jumps in, no, Jonathan India cannot play shortstop. He would be right now if he could.
I don't get the obsession with that. He's having a phenomenal year. Why would you want to make it harder on him? And then he hasn't been very good at second base. Like he has great tools, but he hasn't translated into a good second base defense. Why would that? Again, the Reds are so cheap. Not really so cheap. I don't think they're as cheap as everyone makes it out to be, but the narrative is the Reds are super cheap. If that's true, why would they not be playing India or Senzel or whoever else at shortstop if they could? Like that makes them so much more valuable. You don't have to spend money, Like
right.
They could, they would. Lopez, if he can play shortstop, he'd be playing shortstop.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like people are like, well, what about Senzel? And it's like, no, just let it go. Like, I know he can play multiple positions and that's great. But I don't think he's necessarily completely Ben Zobrist. I think he's just a good model of Ben Zobrist, basically, in that circumstance.
Poor man's Ben Zobrist.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Poor Ben these days. Poor Ben these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor guy.
Gosh. All right. So I'm gonna make my ploy here. This is my dream scenario, and I know it's not gonna happen. But I'm going to go ahead and put this out here to Mr. Brian Cashman. I know you're listening. You're not listening, but I know you're listening. I don't want to roll this Chapman on the Reds because we've seen that year. How did he get an All-Star break, by the way? How the hell did he get an All-Star game?
Well, his ERA went up like 3 runs the day that he was announced.
Yeah. So did you see? I can put that thing out. His last 3 appearances, he's only got an inning and a third total. So
I'd still take it.
I would too. Yeah,
I take my chances.
But I'm not going that fully here, guys. I'm saying since the Yankees are in 4th place and their fans hate their team and everyone that you watch those games the Yankees see and everyone's in disgust. I'm calling for Chad Green. I think he tried to pique their interest. He's been phenomenal this year. He's been their best pitcher. Since Adam Ottavino got traded, and he's been pretty good when he's not closing games for the Red Sox. But I think I'd pique the interest and see what they want for Chad Green because at this point he's in his last year of arbitration. He's had a hell of a year. I mean, he's kind of been their inning eater from their bullpen. So I think that's the guy that I'm looking at calling the Yankees and seeing what can we make something happen for him because they're not catching Boston or Tampa and they might not catch Toronto.
Yeah, sign me up. Not a hard sell. Love he's a
Twist my
multiple inning.
arm. Twist it.
Yeah. He could take Zeno Perez's spot. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I love that he's a multiple inning guy too. I mean, that's kind of like, like extra bang for your buck. I love the 2 inning reliever model.
Me too.
It's just, especially when you're going to have 3-4 days where you go without needing to pitch your best guys because either you're blowing out or you're getting blown out. So I love, hey, starter can only go 5 innings today. Well, we got two good arms. They'll cover our 4 innings, game over, so yeah, sign me up. There's so many relievers. If you try, there's guys that you can get on more of salary dumps. There's guys that you can get if you just, trade some prospects. But it'll be interesting. I have heard a lot about the price of arms will be higher than normal just because of the season that we're in after the short season. Everyone needs bullpen and starting pitching help more so than normal. So yeah, I mean, it probably will be someone at a little bit of a higher price, but yeah, the Brewers made another trade. They traded another one of their
I saw that
quality relievers. That one was, that one was a little weird to me. I just, maybe they're thinking we're going to flip him for him and then we're going to get some more bullpen help from somewhere else down the road. But they've traded 3 relievers now. I mean, the first trade, obviously with Willie Adames is, looked like
looks great.
Steal at this point. But yeah, I don't 3 relievers in this year, how the hell are they going to hold up?
Yeah, I don't know, man, but like I could do kind of feel like they're kind of falling soon. And like you said, we saw some glimpses of that today. How about Jose Peraza finally getting a big hit for the Reds today, guys? Right?
My man had 14 home runs in 2018. Man, he bamboozled me. I thought he was going to be good. I really did. After that 14 home run season, like 14 home runs. I don't like his plate approach. He never walks, but hey, he hit 14 home runs, play shortstop at Great American Ballpark. Man, you're going to be a star. Yeah. Or at least an average player. But
right. Yeah, exactly.
Jose.
So I kind of want to talk about something that's really jumped out because I obviously want to kind of talk about what the role of the team so far. I know we've got about a half hour to go for our regular show. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but we saw it today really kind of play dividends. And we've seen it quite a bit from India, but the base path aggressiveness from this team, I feel like it's kind of picked up a little bit during this win streak. And you're really seeing in these close games. Today, Shogo steals 3rd, which was awesome. And you've seen India, obviously, he's got 7 stolen bases. The team as a whole doesn't have a ton of stolen bases. But have you guys kind of noticed, and also what your thoughts are, kind of like how they've been, it feels like they've been a little bit more aggressive on the base path?
Yeah, I feel like it's been like that for a while now. Even whenever they weren't playing well, they were still out there, jumping around and taking the extra base, going 1st to 3rd, things like that. But it's more prevalent now that they're winning. We notice that a little bit more, and it's more of a rah-rah instead of a golf clap, like good job type of deal.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of studies more taking the extra base is something that can be really, really valuable as opposed to stolen bases. I think stolen bases are so overrated unless you have a Billy Hamilton, but he has to get on base. Especially with this team, with how many home runs they hit, man, the worst thing you can do is get caught stealing. Like, I mean, it's a killer because, you hit home runs every night, so, yeah, I like the way they play. There's just some sneaky fast guys like Jonathan India. His sprint speed is like almost Senzel. Mike Freeman, that dude can fly. He does not look like a guy that can run, but he can book it. And then Michael Lorenzen coming back. I kind of like compared to sprint speed. He will probably be the 2nd fastest runner on the team behind India, and then if Senzel's back, he's the 3rd fastest. So be interesting to see. I don't know if just because he's been out, if they'll just be completely leery with using him in any additional roles. I'm assuming they'll start him slow, but down the stretch, if he's not available to pitch, that's having a pinch runner, especially like say a guy like Tucker Barnhart, gets on base who's a really or a slow runner or Joey, and it's the 8th inning and they're probably not going to come back up again. I mean, Lorenz is a guy you can certainly use and has some value there.
Joey's been sneaky good on the base path this year. He hasn't stolen bases by any means, but he's doing his thing.
He's a high IQ base runner.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I love how I say that and Carlos goes, That's
what they always said about Scott Rowland. Not fast, but he always takes that extra base. He's always smart.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's overvalued or whatnot, but he does seem like a smart base runner,
yeah,
especially on this team.
We're not asking for Deion Sanders here. We're just kind of,
Yeah.
Can
we talk? We have? It's 9:35, and we have not discussed Nick Castellanos' home run in Kansas City. I don't know how we didn't start the show with that, Tim. This is a missed opportunity. What on earth?
Dude, so I feel like I got to tell our story about it more than so the three of us, obviously, since we do the pod together, we text during the games. We'll just kind of say stuff we see and what we like and whatnot. We'll have a good time with it. And I think I texted you guys and after he hit the homer before the video comes out. And I was like, of course he would hit a ball to left field for a home run in Kansas City. And Carlos said something laughing. And then Nick goes, wait till you guys see the video I just got. And we're like, okay. He's like, about to post on Twitter. It's going up in just a couple seconds. And I shit you not, my wife came downstairs and was like, why are you laughing so hard?
Poor guy getting his eulogy read. My favorite part of that is I just imagine the Kansas City TV producer who said, hey, we need to, to say something about this guy. He wasn't, he's like, let's do it in the 7th inning. That's a good, or it was like 4th or 5th inning. It was a good midway point of the game. I just imagined him going, all right, we're doing this. And then I was like, oh no, what have I done? He had to have known instantly, I just made this go viral.
Well, dude, they were talking about Levitard the next day. Levitard had a whole 5-minute segment on it.
That was hilarious to watch that.
What just incredible. It's stuff like that just makes baseball so
awesome.
So you never know what's going to happen.
Well, there's that thing. I think it was either an A ball or rookie ball, but they were saying his first home run in the pros was the day Bin Laden got killed.
Yeah. Reds play the Cardinals on September 11th this year. No tributes when Castellanos comes up. Oh man, yeah.
But just fantastic television. The best part about it too was when you put that thing out, it's his brother being like, "This isn't real. There's no way this is real."
He messaged me. He didn't believe it. He's like, "This is you made." I'm like, I swear I did not make this up. Like I'm editing this and I'm trying to get it out quick, but I can't stop laughing. To I'm my hands shaking, trying to edit with my mouse. This is just phenomenal. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, because obviously so everyone popped up with the whole thing from last year with Tom, and we're not going to get fully into that whole thing, but of course, the thing that struck this whole, and then someone shared a video from I guess 2015 when the Reds were playing in Milwaukee, and they're doing the same thing where they're talking about this guy who passed away. I think he worked for the Brewers organization, and Jim Day is he was a great guy. We always loved him. He did his homework. He will surely be missed. And Joey, it's this home run to deep center field. And on the presentation, as Jim Day says he will be missed, Tom Brennan goes, well, that ball wasn't missed.
Baseball, man. Baseball. Oh.
I can't think of it without laughing. I just love how the Kansas City broadcaster is well, there's never a good time to broadcast to eulogize somebody.
How did he not laugh? I mean, that dude is a pro. That guy is a pro. Like he didn't like his tone didn't change. He didn't say too much. I hope that they had cut the mics and they were like rolling laughing. They said, "Okay, we got it together. We got it together. Put me back on." Like, I hope that's how it went down. I wish I could see video of that booth. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, I know. It was probably
Nick
like
should have
that.
put RIP to whatever his name was. Sorry, no offense, not whatever his name was, but his name. Like, that would have been funny if he had it right down his cap.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity. Oh man, maybe he'll do it for the All-Star game.
That'd be awesome. Because I think someone like tweeted his mom and they're like, does he know like what he's like famous for? And she's like, of course he does. Of course he does.
There's a deep drive.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Yes. But like the tweets after were so funny when someone's like, I'll be like reading my like the thing at my mom's funeral, and all of a sudden here comes Nick Castellanos with a pitching machine and a Louisville Slugger. Like,
oh man.
I think part of the reason we didn't have a start the show with it, Nick, because I didn't know how I'd recover because I keep laughing about it.
Poor Charlie just be like watching us, like, you guys gonna talk or just
Yeah.
like, wasn't that funny, guys? You're immature.
Oh shit.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
We got a good comment here. Evan, big Suarez guy, said he's coming around. So thanks, Evan. Thanks, Evan, for your love for Suarez. We all believe in him here. 6-game hit streak.
6-game hit streak.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, love it. So, yeah, obviously, anytime you sweep the Cubs, that's a good thing. Like we kind of said there. Kind of suspect that. I feel like if you had to, it's probably Craig Kimbrell, right? If you just say one's gone, it's probably him. With how every team needing bullpen pitching this year.
I don't think so. He's got a pretty substantial contract. I mean, I think he's like $16 million this year. So, but 2/3 of 16 that's a lot of math. Like five something million.
Yeah, a little about 5.5 or so.
Yeah, I mean he'll be a little pricey, for a reliever. But yeah, I can't see. I don't see how Bryant's obviously not going to re-sign there. Rizzo probably stays just because they could qualify offer him, and I can't imagine he's going to be worth much more than that qualifying offer pick, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So and they want to. I think they want to re-sign him. It sounds like he wants to stay there. I hope we get his decline years and they have to, pay a first baseman that's not productive. That'd be wonderful. So I'm all for that. If they're keeping any of them, that's the guy I would want. I mean, he's the oldest. Contreras, I mean, so many teams need catchers, except for the Reds. Some of the Reds don't need a catcher. We've always needed a catcher and we're loaded. Who else? Who's the other? There's Baez.
Yeah.
Baez. I mean, I think it'd be awesome to trade for Javi Baez.
Him and Amir on the same team.
I feel like they would just like. I feel like both of them, like with their big personalities, I feel like, but yeah, whatever. We're teammates now. Let's go. Yeah, I feel like they
would get along so good.
I mean, it's hard to see the Cubs trading, but is there a team that needs Javi Baez more than the Reds? Especially the Reds would just be such a good partner because Baez is, I think, what Carlos was saying. He's that shortstop that, the Reds don't need an elite hitting shortstop, but Baez is a great defensive shortstop. He hits at least league average. Man, he would be a perfect fit for the Reds, especially I would imagine the Cubs would probably throw in some money or pretty much give him away. That'd be a perfect fit. I can't see it happening, but
no,
you never know. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, I feel like
when was the last time they traded within the division?
Reds got Sean Marshall. I mean, Sean Marshall was an elite reliever when the Reds got him from the Cubs. So, I mean, I don't, I think that was
2012. Yeah,
pre Theo Epstein. Like, was it that long ago, or
yeah,
or was that one of the first Theo Epstein moves?
No, it was like right before that Theo came in, because I remember like reading it when you were reading about the trade forever, and the Cubs, like they were like, the Cubs really love Travis Wood, and we're like, cool, take him, like by all means, like, yeah. So they got Sean Marshall in that deal. And then I think that's the last time they traded in the division.
I mean, yeah, outside of, some, small moves.
Yeah.
I mean, the Reds got a pitching coach from the Brewers. That wasn't a trade, but
It was nice.
I think the Reds and the Brewers made a trade. I don't know. I can't remember. I think the Reds and the Brewers made somewhat of a trade. I don't know. It's a little bit easier when the Cubs are in kind of a weird spot because they're expecting to be competitive next year. So it's a little different to trade someone like when they traded Sean Marshall, they knew they probably weren't going to be good the next couple of years.
Right.
It'd be weird to trade Javier Baez and then both teams are competing for the division title. And you know what I mean? I feel like that's a little bit different. I don't know. If I was a GM, I don't feel like I would worry about that. Just whatever's the best offer, who cares? But I don't know. I mean, it's your livelihood. People will come back at you if he tears it up for your rival. But
Carlos, what about your Padres? Do you think Kim is going to be? Do you think the Reds might be able to get Kim from them?
I mean, I don't think he's on their target board or anything like that. It wouldn't be. I mean, I don't think it would be an upgrade. I guess he plays shortstop, but I don't think he hits as well as Kyle Farmer, does he?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Probably close. And I can't see the Padres wanting to trade him. They signed him because, Tatis does have a, somewhat of an injury track record. They want insurance there. So yeah, I don't see them. The one other guy that I definitely see as maybe a target would be JP Crawford of the Mariners. Although I think the Mariners within 3 games of the wild card. So I don't, it depends on how they, how they shake out the next couple of weeks. But he would be an interesting one. He's the only one of guys that we've mentioned that has multiple years of control left. So I don't know if the Reds would ever say, hey, would you be interested in a shortstop for shortstop swap and look at trading Barrio, who probably has a little more upside. And I think probably about 2-3 more years of control. Crawford would be a more of obviously a better contributor this year and maybe next, but Barrio kind of has the more long-term, potential. So I don't know. That'd be another interesting one. I don't know. Carlos.
Tim quit. He's out.
He's done.
F this.
Carlos, who do you think has a better chance of having a big game in the All-Star game? Winker or Castellanos?
Who's starting for the American League?
So I had it up here. It's a lot of right-handed pitchers, which is why I would probably lean Winker. I think Winker's probably better hitting right-handed pitchers. Bieber, Cole, Valdi, Gibson, Lance.
No, but those starting pitchers, they'd like to throw a lot of fastballs during the All-Star game. So I don't know. It's a toss-up. Either one of those guys, really.
Yeah.
Unless he's left-handed, then I would easily go Castellanos. But...
Oh yeah. Not even. I hope Winker doesn't have to face a lefty in the All-Star game. That would be brutal.
Yeah.
Dude, being at the All-Star game is so weird when starters just keep coming in every inning. So I went to the one in Cincinnati and it's oh, it's the 4th inning and here comes Felix Hernandez. You're oh, this is kind of awesome, but it's just so weird because you're oh yeah, this guy's in and this guy, and it's just pretty funny to see especially you see these starts David Price. I guess now he's been in the bullpen for the Dodgers, but seeing him coming out of the bullpen to throw again, I'm is this 2008? It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I've had pretty tough luck with the All-Star game. I moved to Cleveland the year before it was in Cincinnati, and then it was in Cleveland, and we had a 2-month-old baby, and so I didn't go. So yeah, just I got to get to one. It's definitely on my bucket list.
NBA All-Star games in Cleveland this year.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna pay whatever it would cost for that.
I don't blame you.
Trying to see who. I went to humble brag. I went to watch Joey play in New York whenever it was at was it Citi Field, I guess?
Yeah.
It's called. That was a pretty cool experience. We were kind of, it's considered family, so we got to ride on the family bus, an hour.
You're on the red carpet show.
Yeah, they stopped like downtown Manhattan and stuff for all the buses to come through. Like it was all barricaded and like, we're going by police, and it was pretty badass. And then I forget who we faced. I thought it was like a nasty left-hander or something like that. But and you're kind of like, oh damn it.
I will find video of this. The red carpet show 20, was that like 14?
No, not on the red carpet show. It was like the actual game. Like I wasn't in the truck with him. It was just him and his girlfriend. Like I didn't want to be a part of
Okay.
that. It was like we just let that go.
I thought you were like waving to the kids, like, "Hey, what's up?"
No, whenever like the charter buses were leaving the hotel, like the players were already there doing everything, but it was like an hour and a half before the game where me and my wife, we were considered, part of his family. So we got to go on the family bus from the hotel downtown to the game or up to the game at Citi Field. And they like barricaded, had everything blocked off just so we could make sure and get there quick and fast. So that was a pretty cool experience.
I can imagine that. That has to be pretty cool.
Yeah, especially in a city like that, to see them just like stop traffic, and you can see everybody pissed off, like these people, get them out of here.
Yeah, New York is freaking wild with those people, man. So we got a few minutes left. I want to kind of touch on something before we get into the Brewer series. So like I mentioned earlier in the show, this weekend coming up is the MLB draft. The Reds have a lot of very early picks. And so Carlos, I kind of wanted to kind of go through your time. We got a ton of questions too. Awesome. So you guys care if we run a little over an hour today? I don't really care if you guys don't. You guys got anything to do?
I can talk about the Reds for 10 hours, especially when they have a 6-in-1 week.
Yeah.
So you'll have to kick me off.
So Carlos, I kind of wanted to kind of pick your brain because obviously Nick and I have never been drafted. And you were a pretty early draft pick, in the top 10 rounds of a 750 round draft. But you were pretty unique because a lot of those guys that are drafted pretty early, they're high schoolers, have a lot of promise. They're D1 guys. You were a guy who pitched on a D2 national championship team and got drafted. Do you kind of remember like the process when you found out your name was up there, or like what that process was like when you found out you were going to enter your name into the draft, or how that process worked for you?
Oh yeah, I definitely know whenever I got put on the map because, I'm a 6 foot with cleats, right-hander. I'm a dime a dozen throwing 80, 89, topping out 92. Like Division II is full of me. Division I is full of me. And so my school, the pitching coach that we went there for, he was a disciple from Mike Marshall. So they taught the screwball. And so that was my pitch. And, I taught that freshman year, sophomore year in college. It was just a good change up. And then I went and played summer ball. I'm not sure if I told this story here or not yet, but, playing summer ball in Virginia in the Valley League, I was just, tossing before a game and I was messing with the grip on my screwball, and I found it and was like, hey, holy shit, throw that back. And, I threw it again, snapped it off. And I was like, oh shit, I got something. I got to go tell, the manager, hey, I have to pitch today. Like I have to. So put me in the game, like, I don't know, struck a couple of guys out, but like the rest of that summer league, like that happened pretty early, but the rest of that summer league, I figured it out, and I was striking out 2 guys an inning. And it was like, it was full with D1 guys. And so it was like at the end of that summer, I was like on the Baseball America, like, top guys to watch out for, like the newcomers are on the list, like, and I was one of them. And all right, well, I remember playing like fall ball, and the coach, there's a couple of scouts there. In San Antonio, there was usually like a Red scout, a Brave scout, and like a Mariner scout that would come if you had anybody. And so they'd show up, and, the Reds scout, Jimmy Gonzalez, told my pitching coach that they was kind of friends with, like, hey, we like Carlos, we'll probably end up taking him this year just to make sure he stays healthy, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to the next part of the story that I'm going to try to make as short as I can because this could take a whole hour if we wanted. So my pitching coach gets fired like the day before spring starts. And this is like going to be the biggest spring of my life. So he's the reason why I went there. He gets fired the day before spring starts. My new head coach, or not my new head coach, but my head coach, we didn't get along because of that right away. So we bumped heads. A month later, I quit the team. I couldn't take it anymore. I quit the team. Missed a couple of starts. Get back on the team. Start dating his daughter. It had nothing to do with it. She's now my wife. But finished that season off, and I hurt my elbow, so I only ended up throwing like maybe 90 innings or so, 88 something innings, and the Reds were still like through that whole time. Even when I quit, they're like, "Hey, we're still going to draft him, make sure he stays in shape." Blah blah blah. But even whenever I came back and was throwing well, like I thought, mid to late 20s is what they were telling me. As high as like 22 to late 28, somewhere around there. It's the only ones that I thought that I really heard anything from. I filled out cards for other people, for other teams, but the Reds were the only ones. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get drafted and I'm going to get out of here because I wasn't enjoying my time. And so we're sitting there at the lake house. I remember it was me and my girlfriend then, and two of my buddies. I'm sitting at his lake house and like, hey, I'm just turning on the draft, and you could only listen to it back then, way back then. And so I have it on in the background. We're kind of waking up late, eating breakfast and type of deal. And you hear like, the seventh round, Jose Guevara out of St. Mary's, and we're kind of like all looked up. We're like, did they just say you? Was that you? It's like, I think so. Then my phone started ringing, and then it was all over from there. Like it's pretty surprising. It was pretty cool.
So when you're drafted, who from the organization calls you? Because in base, like when you see the NFL draft, which is just the most unbelievably overrated television experience of all time, they get a call from like if you get drafted by the Cowboys, it's Jerry Jones that calls you. Mm-hmm. At that time, like was it Jim Bowden calling you? Is it the head of like the scouting department? It
was the scout who drafted me.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the only one I really spoke to. Like a cross checker came in there on my last start to see how high they were going to draft me, and yeah, he's the one who called me, and then he said, "We'll be in touch soon." And from then, it was just kind of like, all right, I got to figure out how to get home. I don't have an agent. I don't know what I'm going to do with the signing bonus. I'm looking up like what my slot got last year, and I'm like, what am I going to do? It's not like I'm going to say no. I need more money. I'm not going to hold out. I ended up getting the shaft on that. Thanks a lot, Reds, but it all worked out well.
You didn't get the R.A. Dickey where he got drafted in the first round and no signing bonus, at least.
Oh, that's a fun fact I never knew.
Yeah.
You didn't have an agent until after you got drafted.
Correct. Yeah. My pitching or my high school coach was actually friends with, I think their name were the Hendricks brothers. I think they represented like Roger Clemens. So they sent like kind of like their little helpers to help me out or something like that. And I ended up signing for like half of what the guy before me got. The same situation, junior right-handed pitcher out of college, and whatever. Just get me there.
Reds, man.
I don't regret it.
So, like for you, obviously being in San Antonio, you're in like a pretty big city when you're pitching there. When they're like, when you sign, they're like, you got to go to Billings, Montana, where you're just like, oh, that sucks.
I was like, awesome, let's go. I want to say I was probably, from the day I got drafted to being on the plane, it was probably like a week. Like it went by really fast. Wow. So, because I didn't really hold out for very many days. We played through the numbers around back and forth like 2 or 3 times, but then the next thing you know, the scout shows up at my house. We signed the papers, and then he's like, all right, we're leaving in 2 days. Meet us at the airport.
Did you like Billings? I've heard it's a really like nice area, nice scenery and all that.
I mean, it looked really cool. I wasn't there very long. I was too good for that league. So
yeah,
totally joking. Those guys ended up winning the league that year. I was kind of pissed. I missed out on a ring. But yeah, no, I think I had 1 start in Billings and then 1 on the road, and then I got called up to
Dayton.
To low A, yeah.
For someone who played with the Dragons, I do kind of have to ask you this: the sellout streak. Mm-hmm. Do you buy it, or is it just kind of they say they sell that many tickets? Or
no, they did. I mean, I can't imagine too many teams that were worse than we were in 2004. Like we lost like 90 games in a minor league season. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You only play 140. There were multiple double-digit losing streaks. It was bad. We had Alonzo Powell as our manager. He was great. I love that guy. If it wasn't for him, we all probably would have got insane. He was probably our best hitter.
I was trying to think. So 03, who was that draft class with you? Was that Jay?
No, I don't think so. No, he wasn't in that class. Who was number one? Ryan Wagner was number one.
Oh my God, I forgot about him.
Ryan Wagner, and then Thomas Pauly, who I took a guy. He was my roommate, Thomas Pauly, out of Princeton. I don't think he started pitching until he got to Princeton, and through like 98. I remember we had to go keep the chart in Dayton. Like the pitchers had to go behind home plate when you were a starter and track everything. He didn't know the positions. Like I had to write it down. 1 is the pitcher, 2 is the catcher, 3.
Oh, no.
I swear to God, I was like, they gave you how much money?
Was Dayton like the coolest uni you had? Because that hat's like pretty freaking sweet. The D with like the green.
I hated the sleeveless jerseys. I always hated that look.
Yeah,
it felt weird pitching like that. I didn't like it.
Oh, I love the sleeveless jerseys.
I don't.
But
I remember like being called up there, and I was like, like we would play that date, and I was like, holy shit! Like this is the minor leagues. This is what it looks like. Like I'm out of rookie ball now, and this is low A, and the stadiums look like this, and there's always 10,000 people at the games. And then we went to like I don't know where the hell we went. It was brutal. It was so bad. The rest of them.
What's so funny is how that stadium's built. So if you've been to Dayton and you've been to Louisville for AAA, literally like their stadiums are built the exact same. Like if you like go to like a game of Dayton, you go to a game of Louisville and you're like, oh, that's where the bathroom is. You ever been here? Nope, but it's just like the Dayton Dragons Stadium, like spot for spot in the outfield, like where the benches are, like where the like you can get the hot dog stand, like exact. So like I was like, this is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Nick, you said we have quite a bit of questions. So
yeah, you want me to read some of them?
Yeah, let's run through it.
So a couple of them we've kind of got to. So if we don't read your question, verbatim, it's probably as we kind of answered it in the show. We kind of got something similar to this a lot. Eddie said, what happens when Senzel and Moustakas come back? I don't think you can take India out of the lineup. Yeah, I agree. I don't think India can come out of the lineup at least significantly. I don't think Senzel has a spot to play versus right-handed pitching. There might be an injury, that creates a spot for him, but I don't see how he plays. I mean, he could certainly play against left-handed pitching. The Reds could really use him there. Mm-hmm. The way that David Bell uses his roster, just because you don't start, you'll still probably get 40 at bats a month. He would be useful. The Moustakas is the weird one. I don't, you cannot play Suarez at shortstop. Please don't do it. It's just don't. Why? Why do you want to torment Luis Castillo? I don't understand it. He's rolling and his defense helps. He had 12 hard hit balls last night and only gave 1 run. I mean, defense helped him. Obviously an injury could solve the problem, I guess, for you. I don't know. I mean, if Suarez isn't hitting, I think he, might be the guy who has to sit the most. I think you just have to do some sort of rotation. Suarez could certainly play every day against left-handed pitching. But I think he's probably at this point the odd man out. But, let's wait and see because he does have a 6-game hit streak right now. If he starts hitting with any production, he's probably not the odd man out. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
It sounds like it could possibly be the world's most expensive platoon with Moustakas and Suarez at times.
Yeah.
I feel like if Moose would have been healthy and Suarez just was somewhat near to what he was, I bet you Suarez probably would have gotten moved. because he probably would have got the most return for his, his good contract.
True.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we're all in the dark with Moose on how long he's going to be back or till he'll be back. So I don't really think they're counting on him to be back and to being back healthy as to play every day either.
Yeah, I mean, they did that thing for him in Kansas City this week, and when he waved, he was still in a boot.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to try to rush him back either. They're just, they're
doing fine without him, and when he comes back, it's a plus.
And they're going to have to bench someone that, I know, everyone dislikes Suarez right now, but he's still a guy you have a lot invested. He's a guy, it'd be painful to bench Suarez. It's not easy. That's a brutal decision to make.
How much better is he at third than Moose? Significantly better?
I think he's better defensively at third base.
But not by much?
I mean, I would say it depends on the week, I mean, Suarez sometimes looks really, really good. Sometimes he doesn't. I mean, I think the overall numbers would probably, say Moustakas is probably a little bit better. But, I mean, I don't think it's one of these things where – I don't think it's one of these things – Moustakas' numbers are significantly better at third base than second base. Second base is probably a below average. Third base is probably slightly above average. Suarez is some years been slightly below average, some years slightly above average. Just depends. And it's really hard to tell this year because he's played shortstop and, who knows what to make this year. But
the errors are definitely not in his favor.
And I think he's definitely looked more comfortable at third base. He's still,
for sure.
His error on Tuesday was the biggest biggest reason they lost, more so than the bullpen, in my opinion. I'm a Suarez guy, but it definitely. I don't know. Sorry, Eddie, I don't know if that's a good answer. You're gonna have to see who's available at that point, and I don't know. It also, as much as we love Jonathan India, I mean, he could slow down significantly at some point. God forbid, a lot of times rookies do fizzle out. So, just because I think we're probably looking at Moustakas coming back in August at this point. Like, it's only 20 something days away from August, right? So, I mean, we're talking, we're getting into the India might slow down. And at that point, you can kind of, mix and match. And to where you're not really, killing India's, spirit, because he, kind of has run down. He hasn't played a full season. So it probably works itself out is more what I would get at.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
Yeah, India's not coming out if he keeps playing the way he is. He's going to be in the top 10 tomorrow in on base percentage. That was not for rookies, but the entire major league top 10.
Carlos,
Steve, top 20.
That guy. Carlos, stat guy. Love it.
Love it. Bringing it.
Yeah. No, India's been phenomenal.
He's definitely earned the right of leadoff hitter for
you can't say
future.
You just can't say enough good things about him. All right. Who makes the decision to buy or sell? Is it Krall or does Bob have the final say? I mean, I think it depends on what you're buying. If you're buying money, it's Bob. If you're making a trade where you're acquiring, like I think Willie Adames, that I assume was completely a Krall decision, because I don't think Bob would have been like, no, you can't take this league minimum player for this other league minimum player. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on what you're buying. You guys have anything else to add on that? It's a good question,
That's
Max.
a good question, though. I like that one.
Sam said this week tell Charlie he's the GOAT of Reds reporters. I agree. Charlie does an awesome job. That guy is always working, always has content every day. You can tell who really takes their job seriously. Charlie does. Do you guys think Votto comes back next year? He's in contract for 2 more years after this one, with a club option in 2024. I doubt the option in 24 gets picked up, but anything else on that?
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think he'll be there. Plus, he's playing really well right now. He's above average. He's above league average right now. So,
yeah. Max had another, just kind of more of a comment. It kind of goes along kind of with what I was saying earlier. So yeah, I always love when people support what I'm saying. Yeah. Giants also have injuries and their best players are old and can wear down. Yeah, I mean the Giants have a lot of older players. It's just a team that's really overachieved. I mean, to their credit, but they could be a team that comes back down to earth and opens up another path. Castellanos seems to really enjoy Cincinnati, but his main goal is winning. Do you think missing the playoffs, getting knocked out early, pushes him to opt out? I truly believe if Castellanos wants to win, certainly has that mentality. And the Reds made the playoffs last year.
Right.
They're competitive this year. I don't really think that is as much of a deciding factor as are the Reds going to reward him for his MVP caliber season and try to at least throw some more dollars at him. I mean, you can say all you want about well, they take hometown discount, whatever. But I mean, like if you earning more than you're worth, you're gonna want to raise at your job just like I would. So I don't.
Everybody's gonna say they love the city they're playing in. They want to win.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to the mighty dollar. He hadn't had a big, long contract. He's up for it. Hopefully the Reds throw something at him, an offer. Because I do think he likes it here and he likes to win. It's a great group of young kids around him for sure. They're going to win for a while. It's just if they can afford him or not.
Yeah, I think the big thing too that people keep talking about the opt-in, opt-out circumstances. He's got the world's he's got the world's most famous baseball agent. So of course, that's going to play a part.
He's not just gonna be like, oh yeah, don't take more money. That's good. That's cool. No worries, man. I mean, he's gonna be like, get every penny. So yeah, I mean, he's gonna, certainly, and he deserves it.
Yeah.
Is he gonna be able to throw those 2 moments of hitting those home runs in Kansas City? Is he gonna be able to use that for an arbitration? Hey, I also did this for the game.
I think it's 3.5 wins above replacement or probably more. Jonathan Scoop, I say his name right. Scoop. I'm guessing the question was, is he an option? I think he's a solid hitter. I'm trying to look up his outs above average. Jonathan
Shoop.
He plays for the Tigers. I think he played for the Orioles for a while.
Yeah.
Decent hitter. He hasn't played shortstop. He's played first base and second base this season. Hasn't played shortstop since 2018. So I don't think the Reds need another second baseman, first baseman. So yeah, I would probably say, I'm sure he'd be a nice player to have, but I just don't see the Reds really having a need. Jose Iglesias. I mean, I guess, he's an upgrade. I think the Reds, I don't know. I mean, I think the Reds with Iglesias and Galvis, of course, that Galvis got hurt, but was having a phenomenal year. I mean, I think the Reds kind of whiffed on them. And I think their mindset originally was fine with, we can do better than those guys, but you got to go get better than them. And if you don't, right, you should have settled with them. And at least you would have close to league average players at shortstop as opposed to replacement level hitter who can play defense.
Yeah.
So.
I think they're going to have to the more that I think about it, if they're going to get a different shortstop, I think it's going to be somebody who's significantly better, because I almost feel like they're okay with Kyle Farmer. He's like Nick said, he's done fine. I mean, hits left-handers well. He plays solid defense. You get lucky when you have a great shortstop that can hit, So the more I think about it, that's probably going to be where the front office was probably pushed back the most, unless they're going to get a really good upgrade.
Yeah, it'd be interesting what Kyle Farmer's role would be if they did get another bat because his numbers are above average as against left-handed pitching, and he plays great defense. So I don't know. That's why J.P. Crawford was so interesting to me because he's a left-handed batting shortstop. Obviously, don't really want to get shortstop that's a platoon, but I mean that's a way to kind of keep Farmer involved, and I think having two shortstop options as you're playing semi-regularly can be good for you in case one goes down. Because that's a real concern. Is these guys get hurt, who's gonna fill that position, down the stretch. If the season ended tonight and the Reds were in the wild card, this is a great question. I love this. The season ended today and the Reds were in the wild card. Which starter are you rolling out for game one?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Sonny.
I'd probably say Sonny.
I would too.
But I would probably cheat and I would probably have Luis Castillo also. Maybe Wade Miley would be my tandem guy because he's a left-handed pitcher. And he has pitched in relief before. But yeah, I think in those wild card games, you have to have, especially the Reds bullpen, you have to have two starters ready. If somebody comes out and doesn't have it, which doesn't happen very often, you got to have someone that can come right in. So I think most teams usually have three starters that they have available for the game. And then they save one guy as their game one. So
yeah. I would love to be able to say Tyler Mahle, but I think we've all seen he just has that tendency to have that 27 pitch inning, and you definitely don't want that in a one game playoff. So
I think Tyler Mahle would be my I think I would go Gray, although Castillo could definitely overtake Gray by the time you get to that point. Remember, Gray was the Reds opening day starter last year, and then Luis Castillo kind of passed him as the Reds ace. So it could happen again this year. I think I would go Gray. And I would have Miley and Castillo in the bullpen. Castillo did pitch in relief in the All-Star game, came in relief, and so I guess has kind of done that once before. But
Sonny did too.
I think having, you never know how those games are going to go, so you got to have kind of all options on deck. But yeah, good one.
2012 game one, perfect example.
Oh, and it's pronounced scope. Obviously. Thank you, OGG host. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm really, really bad at pronouncing names. Very, very bad. Very below average.
That's what I'm here for now. I'm going to ask tons of questions and Nick has to read off their names. I love it.
Not great, Bob. Not great.
I was thinking earlier when I was listening to a podcast, they're talking about the All-Star game and stuff like that. And I was like, they're talking about Freddie Freeman, how, Max Muncy should be starting. And I'm like, yeah, Freddie Freeman. I was like, oh.
Thanks, Tim.
But I was like, you know what? I think every MVP should start next year's All-Star game, no matter what position it is. And the Cy Young should start the game no matter how good or bad they're doing, unless they're hurt, obviously.
I think every Brewers pitcher should pitch in the All-Star game this year. I think 2 innings from Woodruff, 2 from Burns. Let's get Peralta as an injury replacement. I think he can give you 3 innings. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Use them all up. They don't need to pitch in that first series after the break. They can take some time off. Maybe even send them on vacation with their families. Sounds like a plan.
I was cracking up. I was listening to Baseball Barbecue today because since we had Jordan Schusterman on, I always try to give them love because they were really cool to us. And they were making fun of how MLB was these all-star rosters are stacked. And it's yeah, they're the all-star rosters. They're like, who's going to top these guys? And it's no one, because they're the all-star roster.
Did you see them retweet some of the old ones? No. They retweeted the 2012 All-Star roster. There was one of them Melky Cabrera was a starter, and I was like, it's funny. It's funny how those rosters do not age well. You're like, what? That guy started in an all-star game? Let's hope Jesse Winker is like not one of those. And by all accounts, I don't think he will. But it goes back to kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, you never know what teams and players are going to look like 3 years from now. Like things change rapidly in this game.
Well, it's like we said last week. Remember, like Roland started in the 2011 one. He was like the 7th replacement for third base.
And he was so bad in 2011. Like, he was not even good. He had one good year with the Reds, and then still disappointed that Frazier didn't start over him. And why, man?
That was in Pittsburgh, right?
The All-Star game?
Yeah.
2011 was.
So wasn't it Scott, Joey, Arthur Rhodes?
Arthur Rhodes was 2010.
Okay.
I know that the Reds had I think the Reds had Scott, Joey, Brandon, and I think Arthur in 2000.
Yeah, 2010.
I watched that game back.
Yeah, because 2011 was Joey, I think Brandon and Scott all made it again. Jay made it in 11, I think.
We got a guy for that.
Yeah.
It was in Arizona.
That's right.
Arizona.
Scott Rowland, Jay Bruce. No Joey. Oh, no, Joey's there. And Brandon Phillips. Yeah. The Reds really have got a lot of all-stars. Especially for a team that hasn't necessarily been great the last decade. We've really gotten more all-stars than the Reds have always been, I think, top heavy a little bit. But
Alfredo Simon made it 2014.
Yeah, that's one of the ones
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you remember
after he
we would edit that
allegedly.
out
Allegedly.
No, remember the home run derby. Simon had like these like weird glasses on with like Aroldis Chapman, and they were like it was a great picture.
Simon has spent all his money already. I guarantee it.
5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think unless we got anything else we're going to touch on. Oh, I guess real quick. Brewers series obviously this week. Big start of the 2 straight series with the All-Star break in between. Kind of look at the pitching matchups real quick so you know what's coming up tomorrow. Tyler Mahle versus, is it Hauser is pitching tomorrow for them?
Hauser.
Don't make me do work.
Oh yeah, Adrian Hauser tomorrow. Friday you've got Wade Miley going against Lauer, as my phone's being a jerk face McGee. And you got Saturday Vlad Gutierrez against Wendy Peralta. And the last game for the All-Star break, you have Luis Castillo. For somehow the Reds are just now seeing Brandon Woodruff for the first time, who I don't know how in all the Brewers games they've played, they haven't seen him yet, but obviously we know the Brewers rotation is kind of their strength. Thank God today in that loss to the Mets, they had to use their best relievers. So hopefully that's a good favorable thing for the Reds. Any expectations, predictions? You guys have any thoughts on that series?
I mean, it's going to be a 4-game split.
For sure going to be a 4-game split.
I'm not even being greedy. I hope so. I will take either a 4-3 or 3-4. I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would look. 3 out of 4 would be just.
No, I'm talking out of the next 7.
Oh.
Like I'll take a 4-3 or 3-4, like just to where this is not going to decide whether they're going to go buy someone or not.
I would take 5-2. I would take 5-2.
Oh, I would take everything above a 500 record, but I'm just saying, like I would be, I wouldn't be mad if it was they won 3 out of 4. I mean, 3 out of 7. Like they lose 1 game out of all 7. You know what I'm saying? No?
3 out of 7?
Yeah, they win 3 out of 7. They lose 1 game.
Do you mean they win 3 out of 4 and they win 2 out of 3?
No, I'm saying out of the next 7 that they have, if they win 3, the Brewers win 4, they only fall back 1 game.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now. So
yeah, but they'd be 7 games back with 2 weeks to the trade deadline. I would at least need 4 and 3. I think 4 and 3. I think I'd feel good. I mean, they would be 5 back.
Well, then if it's they got to get 4 and 3, then it's a lot bigger series than we're making it out to be. Because then it's huge.
It's massive. I mean, every game is worth 2 games. I mean, there's no you lose and you get lucky, but if you win, you're picking up a game for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's massive. Yeah, I mean, the Reds have to win 4 of the game. If they don't win 4 of the games, they're 7 games back with 2. They're not going to buy. It's just they're not going to do it.
Even if they're 7 games back, I'm still not like super worried just because of the way this division is. Everybody's going on winning streaks, losing streaks, and you have to play the Brewers a lot more still. So,
well, yeah, I mean, we know the way it's going to happen. They're gonna win. They're gonna go 3 and 4, and then they're gonna win 10 straight after that series ends. That's how it always works in Cincinnati. It's when you least expect it, then they
2010 they got swept by the Cardinals, and then they went on that run in August that year.
Yeah, the biggest series in Cincinnati baseball in 20 years, and they get swept, and then the Reds are toast. Cardinals, man, they're the class of the division, and they can't win another game. They were losing to bad teams too.
Yeah.
So I did that 2010 video, so I've kind of rewatched a lot of it. And Cardinals lost to a lot of like bad teams that year down the stretch and just completely collapsed. Beautiful
Hate
stuff.
To see it. Yeah. All right, so I think we'll go ahead here. We'll wrap this up from this week's edition of Late Night Reds Talk. Next week is the All-Star break, so hopefully we're talking about a good Milwaukee series and getting ready for the next one. Really had a fun time today, guys. Thanks to Charlie Goldsmith for joining us. Again, I'm going to reiterate this for all of you guys in the chat. First off, thank you for joining us. We love having you. It means a lot to us. Apple Pods, if you have an iPhone, which most of the world does at this point, I'm pretty sure. Just go to Apple Pods, give us a few minutes of your time, give us a nice 5-star review, because it's the only way people are going to find out about us more. So it goes a long way. I'm willing to throw in some contests and some stuff. If you can show us you're following us on Twitter and Apple Pods, give me a couple days to put together. I'll get it out this weekend, so we can get some stuff out there. But we really appreciate all the attention. We appreciate you guys kind of interacting with us, whether it be on Twitter or anything like here. So it's definitely awesome. We're really having a lot of fun with this. Like I said, enjoy the series this weekend. It's a big one coming up. Go Reds. Everyone have a great night, and we will talk soon.
See you.